Hey guys, Andy here, welcome back. I've always found it a little bit annoying and interesting when comic book writers decide to pit super hyper powered characters against characters who are depowered or even almost regular Joe type characters. And in certain scenarios, the depowered characters seem to get the better of the superpowered characters. Doesn't make much sense. I suppose a lot of things in comics don't make sense. I've always maintained that when reading comics, you have to you have to suspend belief because as comic book readers, we know that as much as we love these realms of fantasy, they are just that, realms of fantasy. In real life, these things cannot, do not happen. However, I do believe that there is a difference between realism and logic. So realism being, how realistic is it that creatures like the Hulk and Captain America would exist and have a fight next door at your neighbors? Probably not very realistic. Logically, if you apply comic book logic, how logical is it that a character like the Hulk, who is basically one of the strongest characters in any comic book company, the Hulk has taken on gods like Thor and Zeus. I think he might have taken on Odin at some point. He's been bested by some of these characters, but the point is, I mean, he's taken on Hercules, and he gave Hercules a good beating from time to time. So you have these characters like the Hulk, then basically being pressure pointed by Captain America and expelled out of a house. How does this make any sense? If you know, please let me know in the comments below. I know that writers do this perhaps to create a sense of drama, interest in the characters, but yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. It never has. I suppose DC perhaps is more guilty of this particular misdemeanor when you take the matching up of Superman versus Batman, which makes even less sense. At least with Captain America versus the Hulk, you could say, or Captain America versus any superpowered character, you could say that Captain America has super soldier serum running through his veins. He does have an advantage over the normal average Joe. He also has his shield, his elevated senses, flexibility, strength. I mean, you put everything together. Captain America is a super soldier. Batman, on the other hand, is pretty much an average Joe. He is very well trained, but doesn't have any super soldier serum. There was a time when he had injected himself with venom, and so was stronger than the average Joe. That is true. That is true. But the non-venom Batman is just an average guy with a very heightened skill set in terms of martial arts. A great strategist, a wonderful detective, a legend in the minds of criminals in Gotham, a prowler of the rooftops, a legendary figure, of course, no doubt, no doubt. But at the end of the day, just a man going up against a character like Superman, who's basically a deity, right? A godlike figure in DC. He's taken on new gods, like such as Darkseid, Orion, Wonder Woman, etc., etc. This is a man that was. This is Superman, one of the strongest characters, definitely in DC Comics, but I would argue in any from any comics company, whether it's Image, Marvel, DC, whatever. One of the strongest, at one point the strongest, but now in the past couple of decades, so many characters have come out, these Superman clones. One could argue he's one of the strongest, definitely in the top five. So, how an average Joe guy like Batman takes on Superman, even with all the fancy gadgetry, the suits, the tanks, whatever it is, uh, it just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. And when comic book writers try to bring out these panels upon panels of these concepts of how a battle could take place, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Whether you have red sun gauntlets or you have kryptonite. I mean, how much kryptonite is there in the world? How much kryptonite is floating? How many reserves how many tons of reserves of kryptonite does the US government have stored away, and how much of that it has been siphoned off by Bruce Wayne? I would just love to know, because it just turns up everywhere. It's like adamantium in the Marvel universe, or vibranium. It just never seems to end. It's the most sought after, rare material on the planet, and yet everyone seems to have it, like kryptonite. But anyway, who knows? But there are instances where you have these matchups between regular type characters like the Punisher and superpowered characters like the Hulk. Again, one of the strongest characters in all comicdom. And whilst you have these matchups, and you think to yourself, not again. What's going to happen now? And there's an entire set of panels, dedicated to this particular uh, outing. Still, at the end of it, when you get to that resolution, it all makes sense. It does make sense. For example, on this page, you've got the Punisher wasting his ammo on the Hulk. He's shooting, he's saying, well, look, what's going on? I'm hitting him, nothing's happening. The Hulk's not doing anything. He's just standing there taking the hits. He's amused. He's very amused, and the Punisher's getting really annoyed and worked up. Makes perfect sense. This makes perfect logical sense. This is what would happen. And in the end, when the Punisher has exhausted his arsenal, done everything he possibly could, the Hulk is standing there, unfazed. Unfazed. Nothing that the Punisher has done has had any effect on the Hulk whatsoever. Beautifully done. That's exactly what you would expect would happen when you have a matchup between the Punisher, a regular Joe Punisher, and one of the strongest characters in Marvel Universe. This makes perfect sense. And to beautifully cap it all off, when you read the dialogue between the Punisher and the Hulk thereafter, where the Punisher says, "My head is still ringing, Hulk," and the Hulk replies, "Consider yourself lucky, Frank. If I'd hit you with 2 fingers instead of 1, you'd still be unconscious." Beautifully done. Do you know why it's beautifully done? It's beautifully done because it takes nothing away from the Punisher. The Punisher is still a great kick-ass character, and the Hulk is still the Hulk. You can't beat the Hulk as the Punisher. It's not going to happen. But respect to both the characters. It's been done with a sense of humor. If you're a Punisher fan, you'll understand. If you're a Hulk fan, you'll understand. Everyone's going to be happy. The Punisher did what he could. The Hulk took it in his stride. At the end of the day, it was all happy handshakes, and they went their merry way. This is the way it should be done. There shouldn't be scenes where extremely depowered individuals somehow find a way, whether it's through kryptonite or vibranium or the magical eye of Agamotto, Sinestro, Jojo, whatever it is. I know that comic book writers have a huge license to come out with all sorts of uncanny story twists and turns, but I just think a story is a lot more enjoyable when it's rooted in a bit of logic, not realism, just logical believability. I suppose that's what it is. Anyway, look, that's just me and my thoughts. A lot of people may disagree with what I'm saying, and that's okay. That's okay. It's good. It's good to have differing opinions, guys. I'm all for sharing our views and thoughts, and if anybody wants to comment, please do. And again, thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. If you like, please do subscribe and comment. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, take care.